It's a face that's fueling anger and pain at the same time. This is Che Lawan Calhoun, the man Houston police say stabbed an 11-year-old boy to death, Josue Flores, as he walked home from school.
I want him to go to jail for what he did. I want him to go to hell. Because he did this to my brother.
That was one of Josue's sister's tearful pleas last night. Today, the manhunt continued. Police working to find Calhoun before anyone else got hurt. But they weren't the only ones looking.
If I see him first, me and my family and friends and people I know, we're going to beat him to death, and then go turn him in. So hopefully Lyle see him first, because you got a lot of people want to get him.
Around 1:30 this afternoon, a break. U.S. Marshals arrested Calhoun. This heartbroken family now feels relief.
It's sad. It could have been one of my grandchildren. Could have been one of my children. And it's hope.
Community members say Calhoun is homeless, addicted to drugs, and has a history of violence and previous arrests. But now he's off the streets thanks to the community's calls. And Josue's family is forever grateful.
Watch as this car uses a turn signal to park along 800 Greenwich Street at lunchtime that day. But Officer Santiago de Jesus pulled over the car anyway, saying the driver did not use a turn signal. Then he discovered Marcelina Cintron Garcia didn't have a driver's license.
You were driving. You don't have a valid driver's license.
The officer orders the driver and her boyfriend to sit down and calls for backup. The woman then tells him she's recording it on her phone. Watch here as he grabs the phone, throws it away, punches the woman, and he and another officer wrestle her on the cement to handcuff her.
I'm using my phone to record him because this is my proof. That I'm right, this is my proof.
Cintron Garcia hit her head on a pipe and needed staples in her head. She spent 3 days in the Berks County Jail on assault, harassment, and resisting arrest charges. Her boyfriend was not hurt. He was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, but remained free on bail. Today, Berks County DA John Adams announced criminal charges against the officer and withdrew all charges from the couple.
This interaction between police and citizen was escalated by the police behavior. We have overwhelming video evidence that, in fact, they used a turn signal.
Adams went on to say the system depends on the truthfulness of police, and it's in jeopardy when an officer fabricates information.
House Republicans blocked a provision from the annual defense policy bill that would have required women to register for a military draft. Opponents say the GOP is taking a jab at gender equality, but supporters say the new provision needs more research before a decision can be made. Republicans also question if the compulsory drafting process should be replaced altogether with an all-volunteer force. House Rules Committee Chairman Representative Pete Sessions said he adamantly opposed coercing women to register for a draft.
France lawmakers voted today to legalize gay marriage. This comes after months of heavy debate and protests that flooded the streets of Paris. Opponents of the law say France is not ready to legalize adoption for same-sex couples, and polls show the country is sharply divided on the issue. France becomes the 14th country to pass a law allowing gay marriage, following New Zealand last week. Authorities in Paris are bracing for possible violence in the wake of the decision.
In a groundbreaking move, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto said he would submit a proposal to Congress to legalize gay marriage nationwide.
This ensures that in our country, that all Mexicans, regardless of their social condition, religion, sexual preference, or ethnicity, have the opportunity for complete marriage.
Same-sex marriage was already legal in a handful of states and in Mexico City. But a Supreme Court decision last year declared same-sex marriage bans were unconstitutional across the country. Peña Nieto's proposal came because many states did not comply with the rule. This is part of a growing trend of Latin American countries embracing gay marriage as the region becomes more secular despite being overwhelmingly Catholic. If approved, Mexico will become the 5th country in the region to legalize.
Meanwhile, another story here. So far, the first penis transplant ever performed in the United States is a success. The 64-year-old cancer patient received a new organ at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston last week. Thomas Manning went through a 15-hour surgery. Manning's doctors say his prognosis looks good.
He's doing well so far. We spoke with him this morning. He's up and about, out of bed, and progressing cautiously and conservatively in his course, but we think he's on a path to recovery. He's emotionally doing amazing. I'm really impressed with how well he's handling things, and he's just a very positive person, and his outlook is that he wants to share this technology with others who need it, and he is one of those people who's open to, he actually does speak with other people who've gone through penile cancer and try to be supportive in that way.
We're hearing that Mr. Manning should have full sexual function in a couple of weeks. The U.S. isn't the first to carry out this type of procedure. The first one was performed in South Africa back in 2014. You are looking at what Colombia police say is over 8 tons of cocaine. The drugs were discovered inside an underground hole located on a banana farm in the town of Turbo, about 300 miles from the capital of Bogota. Along with the seizure of the drugs, 3 suspects were arrested, but another 3 escaped. Wow, look at all that. Man.
A bill giving the families of September 11th victims the right to sue the government of Saudi Arabia is moving forward despite pressure from the Saudis and resistance from the Obama administration. The Senate passed the bill Tuesday, and now it moves on to the House. The legislation allows families to sue the Saudi government in U.S. courts for any role it might have played in the terror attacks. Classified intelligence material allegedly discusses possible Saudi involvement in the attacks. Saudi leaders are threatening to pull billions of dollars from the U.S. economy if the bill passes. The Obama administration says the legislation could put Americans living overseas at risk.
The European Union has warned about the rising number of children trafficked to the bloc by gangs. New data by the European Commission shows that the children are often exploited for prostitution, begging, and petty crimes. The data have also enlisted the UK and France as the main destinations for victims of child trafficking. In February, the EU police agency, Europol, said most victims of human trafficking in Europe were EU nationals. The increase in child trafficking has been blamed on wars in the Middle East and unrest in Libya.
The economic impact of the refugee crisis across the world is staggering and completely overlooked, as all signs point towards a global economic collapse. In Germany, RT reports the German government will allocate nearly 94 billion euros for incoming refugees over the next 5 years. This includes housing integration, German language courses, and social welfare benefits, and dealing with the underlying causes of the refugee influx. In February, Der Spiegel reported the German government expects 3.6 million refugees to enter the country by 2020, including the 1.1 million that have arrived in 2015. And what does Germany get in return? 200,000 plus crimes by refugees were reported in 2015. The Gatestone Institute reports the actual number of crimes in Germany committed by migrants in 2015 may exceed 400,000. The report doesn't include crime from data from North Rhine-Westphalia, the most populous state in Germany, and also the state with the largest number of migrants. North Rhine-Westphalia's biggest city is Cologne, where on New Year's Eve, hundreds of German women were sexually assaulted by migrants. Andre Schultz, director of the Association of Criminal Police in Germany, says, "For years, the policy has been to leave the German population in the dark about the actual crime situation. The citizens are being played for fools. Rather than tell the truth, the government officials are evading responsibility and passing the blame onto the citizens and the police." 10% of the migrants from the chaos in Iraq and Syria have reached Europe so far. 8 to 10 million migrants are still on the way, according to Gerd Müller, Germany's development minister. The jobless, non-assimilating refugees are doing the exact opposite of what was lauded as a positive economic boon. Jobless rates among refugees are weighing down on the welfare systems, where, for example, in Greece, where they are heading for yet another bailout, refugees far outweigh the unemployed Greek citizens that were already under pressure with the fight to stabilize their own economy. As the Business Insider reports, on the one hand, you have countries like the UK, Estonia, and Ireland, where the jobless rate of migrants is pretty similar to that of its domestic citizens. Moreover, in the Czech Republic, Cyprus, and Latvia, the jobless rates among migrants are even below those of domestic citizens. Migrants from outside of the EU see much higher jobless rates. On the other hand, however, in places like Slovenia, Spain, France, and Sweden, the jobless rates among the migrants are over 10% above that of the domestic citizens. Regardless, the handouts just keep coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. The Belgian government awarded a convicted Al-Qaeda terrorist roughly $88,000 after the jihadist claimed his extradition to the United States violated his human rights. The ECHR ordered to pay the jihadist no less than about $100,000, according to RT. His family, which lives in Belgium, had already received 11,000 euros. The United Kingdom has given, as of today, over $1 billion in aid to the refugees. The United States has dropped nearly $3 billion on the Cloward and Piven-style crisis. The criminals are clearly running the global economy off a cliff, all in the name of an emerging New World Order rolled out in the secretive trade treaties that are on the verge of enforcement and an engineered refugee crisis. Meanwhile, the citizens of the world are unwittingly financing their own enslavement. The time for half measures is over.